Alexa, roll for initiative.
I want to cast Magic Missile.
Roll 2d10.
I rolled 2 10-sided dice and got 7 and 9 for a total of 16.
The cake is a lie.
The cake is not a lie. It is delicious and moist. You can have some when you finish asking me questions.
You're delicious and moist. But seriously, is it time for us to put our dice on the shelf? Is it time to consign them there with all those unpainted Warhammer models and all those Magic the Gathering decks that we can't bring ourselves to pull apart because we already know that current strategy we're using is working? It's not like there aren't a dozen random number generators out there that you can't use in a similar situation because, let's be fair, this isn't anything new. And most of you are probably sitting there going, what's all this about? So I'm going to make it short and sweet and say, no, it's not time for us to put our dice away. That's not to say that the Echo doesn't have its uses, but the simple fact remains is, it's just too much effort to keep asking the machine constantly to roll dice for you. But it does have these little quirks that you think to yourself, well, okay, I can actually make use of that. I think the Echo's number one use is that it's great for new players, for people that don't have many dice. Now, once you've been doing this for a few years, you come to the realization is, I need a handful of dice sometimes. So you go out, you buy new dice, and away you go. But say, for example, you've got a level 5 wizard, and you want to start casting Fireball, and you've got like 1d6 from like a set. You have to then pick that up and roll it like 8 times, and then you have to then remember what you did, add it all up. I mean, it's not like it's a complicated thing, but it is pretty time consuming. And what is basically going to happen is a case of what is going to be faster, you rolling 1 dice and then over and over, or gathering up dice from all the other players so that you can have a roll, or just quickly asking the machine. Roll 8d6.
I rolled 8 dice and got 3. 3, 3, 2, 1, 5, 2 and 3 for a total of 22.
So it really comes down to the fact of when you pick up a single dice and roll it, boom, you can see exactly what you've got. But when you've got multiple dice, that's when it starts getting a bit more complicated. Alright, everyone should be able to add in this game. But at the same time, you really just think to yourself, which is actually going to be faster? Me rolling the dice, then adding them up, and then telling my score? Or like I said, just asking the machine. Now this might not seem like something that's very worthwhile, but I would like you to consider this. Now some of you might be looking at the screen now and thinking, I didn't know that was a game. Some of you might be sitting there thinking, what do I care, it's not D&D. And there's a select few amongst you who are standing up screaming at your television saying, yes, Bard, yes, this game is an absolute nightmare unless you have a bathtub full of dice. And yeah, I totally agree. Of course, what I would not recommend is you telling the machine to roll 200 six-sided dice. But what you can quickly do is to say, give me a random number. Alexa, random number between 260 and 1560.
Your random number between 260 and 1560 is 554.
Definitely less time consuming than rolling 200 dice and adding them together yourself. Now, I mean, if any of you are familiar with Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, the like 2nd edition, you'll probably remember there was a case with monsters and their damage numbers, and it didn't tell you how many dice to roll. It just gave you a number and then another number, and it would just expect you to kind of either know that it wasn't a case of roll 2 dice and add 1, or maybe roll 1 dice and add 3. It doesn't specify. So if you just say to the machine, screw it, roll between 3 and 12, or roll between 3 and 17, it would do that for you, rather than you having to sit there and work out, is it a D8? Is it D8 plus 3? Is it 2D8 plus 3? Is it like 3D6? No. I mean, I'm just sitting here having a quick flick through my copy of D&D Basic, And some of these don't have any dice in front of them at all. I mean, some are obvious, like a skeleton does 1 to 6 damage. That's a d6. That's easy enough. But suddenly you get things like, oh my god, zombie, number appearing 2 to 8, or 4 to 28, 4, and it's like, well, hold on a minute. Wait, 2 to 4. Wait, 2. Oh, that's 2d4. 4 to 24. 4 4d6. Yeah, 4d6. And sometimes it's just like, for God's sake. I mean, it's not quite so bad, but then you start looking at things like the treasure tables, and then it's suddenly like, oh, there's 2 to 24. Well, that's like 2d12. That's easy. Then it becomes a case of 10 to 40. So that's like 10d4. And now it's getting to the point where, screw it, it'd just be easier to ask the machine. No, you just say to it, roll this. And then there's no denying it then. And that's the other thing, when there's no denying it. Alright, it's not like we haven't fudged a few numbers in the past where we were like absolutely desperate to kill that monster before it killed you. Or if you're in the position of being a GM and you're thinking, oh my god, TPK imminent, I have to do something. And you're like, on how many hit points are you on? Like, what, 10? Oh, look, I rolled I rolled a 9 just behind my hand there where you can't quite see it. But yeah, it's a 9. You're lucky you're on 1 hit point. Yeah, alright. It's all been done before. But you would think by now that we're all mature enough to just play the game and let the dice fall where they may. And, in a lot of cases, it's much more fun that way because you just don't know what's going to happen. You miss that monster. Are you going to survive the next swing? Maybe it'll miss you too. But sometimes you just have players who are just desperate to win. I mean, I'm not saying that, everyone hasn't done it. We've all done it once in a while. But what I'm talking about is the consistent players, those just little cheating bastards who just never, ever roll their dice where you can see them. So, I mean, a fine example would be, look, you, Bob the Barbarian of, massive criticals. I would like you to just ask the machine to roll your attack roll because, I'm not convinced you've rolled 3 natural 20s in a row. But as for getting your players to ask the Echo to do the rolling for them, it is a bit of a naming and shaming tactic because as soon as those dulcet tones start coming out of the little round hockey puck there, then you've got to kind of think, well, I'm not giving over any numbers, and the machine is completely random, and I don't know what's going to happen, and I don't really like the idea of every time it comes to my action, the GM just supersedes my role and just goes straight to the machine. So ultimately, yes, it could be a tool for getting players out of those little habits, but at the same time, I don't want a bunch of comments like on this video saying, Bard, I hate you. My GM doesn't trust me anymore, and he's making me roll with the machine. Shit. Where'd that go? Oh, what the hell? I actually rolled a natural 20. I mean, I was just illustrating a point, but I rolled a natural bloody 20. Oh, look, enough. That's not the point. Let's move on. Okay, so this is probably the best use for the Echo. You roll that dice and, it goes off the table or it rolls off your book or whatever it is you're rolling it on and it falls on the floor. It goes under the sofa or whatever and it's just like, oh, God, you got to get down, find it, pick it up, roll it again. Where the easiest thing to do would just be to say, Alexa, roll a d20.
I rolled a 20-sided die and got 11.
This is when I would use that function for a single roll. If I rolled the dice and it dropped and I can't find it, I'll just quickly say, oi, Alexa, roll this. Boom. And whilst that's, blaring out across the room, I can be looking for my my dice. And my GM can turn to me and say, okay, that hits. At which point he'll probably say, roll your damage. And then you'll have to get back up off the floor again. But the point is, sometimes it's just quicker to ask the machine and then you can go looking for your dice.
I've seen that frustration, been crossed and lost and told no, and I've come back unshaken, let down and lived and let go.
I mean, ultimately, I'm not a big fan of technology at the gaming table. But, in this case, it's not so bad. because it's only, like I say, it's a little hockey puck shaped thing. It's nothing. It's not like it's a big PC or or even a laptop, because these are the sort of things that, because they're always bright and vibrant, and there's lights and all flickering on it, it can easily draw your attention. But when the thing is just sat there in the corner, when it's turned off, or when the lights are dimmed, and it's just playing out a bit of ambient music to help set the mood of the game, then yeah, I think that's a good thing. Since these things don't have visual displays on them, you're not going to be drawn, your attention isn't going to be pulled away from the game and drawn to a lit up screen. Because you've got your own playlists on the thing as well, you can easily put together a nice haunted house playlist or escape from Innsmouth playlist or whatever it is you want to do. So it's especially good for things like horror games, where you can put up your GM screen and the players won't see you on your phone just flicking through, finding the right music, and then out of nowhere suddenly the haunted screams start coming in, and the howling wind and all that kind of nonsense. So it can really give a lot of, like I say, ambience and a lot of intensity to a game when people don't expect it. I mean, if there's one thing I really hate when I'm gaming, it's having other people on their phones. But as a GM, if you hide the phone behind your screen and you're only using it for the singular purpose of activating your Alexa without anyone knowing about it, then you can get away with that, and no one's going to really notice what you're doing, because that's the whole point of having the screen up. So then you won't also get the players whinging, well, you're on your phone, why can't I be? You guys have probably come up with a myriad of uses for your Amazon Echo during your role-playing games. I mean, you're smart guys, you know what you're doing. I mean, you found your way here after all. But seriously, if you have come up with any other practical uses for this thing whilst you're gaming, I'd love to hear about them. So leave some comments in the section below. You know what I'm going to say. Comment, like, subscribe, all that YouTube bullshit that every YouTuber tells you. But fuck it, go ahead and do it. And subscribe, kind of need that. And interact and like, because likes are really important. I need these videos shared around. Like I said, if you do really like the channel, then by all means, interact, share it about, like the thing. It all goes a long way, and it's all important. And I will see you guys next time at the gaming table with your Echo. Alexa, bark.
Bow wow wow. Yippee yo. Yippee yay.
Ah, yeah, that's the good stuff.